Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. I'm here with Dani, who has been a participant of our Dialectical Behavior Therapy Skills Group. So our DBT Skills Group teaches youth practical strategies and skills that help increase their mental health and resilience. Our DBT Skills Group is funded through community supporters and is actually one of the only groups of its kind that doesn't require participants to have a formal diagnosis. So I want to thank you, Dani, for being here with us today.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So I just want to start off by saying, how did you get connected to McMan?
Yeah, so I had a friend who was, she went through the DBT group and we were talking just about our different mental health struggles. And I had mentioned that I noticed that she was doing a lot better. And she said, oh yeah, I went to this DBT skills group. And I said, oh my goodness, like, because I had been looking for a DBT skills group. And like you said, there aren't a lot in Calgary, period. And a lot of the ones you need a formal diagnosis. It's like I think it's a 6 to 12 week wait. And I was like, I need something like now. And she was like, oh yeah, I'll send you the number. And so she texted me and I texted Mabel, who leads the group. And she texted me back, and that I've been involved with McMan ever since.
That's awesome. How would you say your life has changed from when you started your first group to now? Because I understand you're in a all-star group.
Yeah. So the DBT group has really done like two things for my life. The first was, especially when I was in the group, it really gave me a lot of hope. For starters, like a lot of the skills they teach are for, life, right? And it's for, before I was in the group, I would say I was like floating above the water. I was managing. I wasn't in the hospital, but that was about all I could say about how I was dealing with my mental health. And through the group, I learned these skills, and I got the opportunity to learn from facilitators and peers who have mental health issues. And beyond the skills that they taught, it was a lot of like, oh my gosh, like, there's hope, after like 22, there's, I can have a family and a job, and I don't have to, have a brain transplant to do any of that, because here are all these people surrounding me and helping and teaching, and that I'm helping and teaching, that, have jobs and families and lives beyond their mental illness. The second thing that it really did is give me a really tight community. So like you said, I'm part of an all-stars group that essentially a bunch of us from different, so the group does like sessions, and a bunch of us from different sessions have come together, and we meet every couple of weeks, and basically we talk about our lives. We help each other with skills in like real world scenarios. But a lot of what we do is just validating each other and validating the struggles. When you have especially like a chronic mental illness, there's not a lot of people who understand what you're going through. And it's hard to find people who, even the people who often are willing to listen and genuinely care and want to help you, they don't understand what you're going through, what you're feeling. And McMan has given me a community that does, that I can text, or, every 2 weeks we meet over Zoom, and, say like, man, I'm really struggling with X, Y, and Z. And they go, oh yeah, I've been there. I understand. Like, and just having that community is so, so valuable to me. It's like meeting, I think it's twice a month. Yeah, every other week. So meeting with those people in the all-star group who I know understand, like, it's the highlight of my month. It's, it's one of the things that just, especially during COVID, it's kept me from feeling isolated. It helps me feel, like I'm normal and not failing at life. Like, it's just so good.
That's amazing that you speak about this essentially a support system that you've been able to create and your group has been able to create, because that's a huge thing that we try to do at McMan, is really kind of have our clients and our participants of our groups find those people, right? And kind of find your tribe, so to speak, that are going to be there, you know, long past the services with us, that you're going to be able to always kind of count on and rely on. So that's amazing that you guys were able to do that. What are your goals for the future?
Sure. So I am actually enrolled, sorry, with in a psychology program, like a university psychology program. My goal right now is to be an art therapist. And really, like, my hope, I guess, broader than that, is to start changing the world for people like me. You know, I had to wait until I was in my 20s to get the help that I desperately needed. And part of the reason I had to wait is because there's just so few people like me in the psychology field. You know, I went through 3 or 4 therapists, and a lot of them, they didn't have mental health issues. You know, they told me that they didn't. And so when I would explain what I was going through, they couldn't understand, right? You know, they had their textbook knowledge, and they said, okay, well, you're gonna have to go outside and sleep earlier and, you know, eat more broccoli. I was saying, okay, like, but, you know, what do I do? Like, I'm doing all that. It's not helping. They said, well, it should be helping, right? And my hope is that I can, you know, the Dani of 10 years from now, right? If they come and see me and say, you know, I'm struggling with X, Y, and Z, I can be able to say, yes, I understand what you're going through, and I can help you work through it. And hopefully make the world, you know, a better place for, you know, people like me.
Absolutely. What would you say to a youth that's considering joining this group for themselves?
I would just say, like, it's so worth it. It costs you nothing, and it changes everything. For the first time in more than 2 decades, I'm just about 24 now, and for the very first time since being in McMan, the past couple of years, I feel like my life is actually under control. You know, I feel like I can handle a crisis, and I can live and not just survive. And that is largely because of the skills I learned at the DBT group, and the connections I made there. And just, if you're struggling to feel validated, if you just can't figure out what you're doing wrong, or, you know, if you just need extra tools in your tool belt, like, it's so worth joining.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Dani, is there anything else you'd like donors to know?
For sure. So the big thing I would like donors to know is how meaningful their contributions are. For those of us who can't afford, like, an actual financial mental health, like, I'm part of the reason I went to the DBT group was because it was free. If I'd had to pay, I don't know if I would have gone, because I'm a student and I've got a part-time job, but all of my money right now goes to my education. And, you know, I'm fortunate enough to be with my parents, and so I don't pay for groceries or rent, but so many of my friends aren't that fortunate, right? They've moved away. So all of their money goes to food, water, necessities, right? And then their mental health suffers because they can't afford to go to a program. And so then to have a program that I don't have to pay for personally, I can say, oh gosh, thank God, I can actually focus, like, I can help myself, and I don't have to go without food this week, right? And so just, like, thank you so much, because for those of us who are struggling and can't afford to take, you know, can't monetarily afford to take care of our mental health, even when we desperately need it, having a program like this is so helpful. It's honestly a lifesaver.
Awesome. Well, Dani, thank you so much for your time. And I know we all wish you the best in your future, which seems very, very bright. Thank you again.
Yeah, no, it's been a pleasure, and like thank you guys for offering the service, because I honestly don't know where I would be without it, but I know it wouldn't be nearly as sunny as it would be now that I've gone through it.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Dani. We appreciate it.